For this episode of the Cooper's Couch, we're at Walker in the New South Wales, New England, with Greg Upton of the Upton Pastoral Group. Greg, thanks very much for having us along here.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about the operation, what you're focused at.
Years ago it was just a pure fattening operation. We slipped back into cows and calves for a while due to the appreciation and values of female stock, but we're now finding that after a number of drought years, the cost of hand feeding, the maintenance associated with cows is too high for the stamp of pastures we're growing, so we're now going to go back into purely a steer fattening operation.
It's quite obvious that the pasture improvement that's gone on these properties has been something quite phenomenal, so that's obviously been a big driver for you. Productivity clearly, and animal health.
Animal health is a very big and key issue. If your cattle aren't doing well, you're losing money. Simple.
How big an issue for you has bovine respiratory disease become?
It's a huge problem. We've reached a stage, in fact, where we prefer not to buy cattle that haven't been treated. The losses were so significant that a few years ago, when we purchased cattle, we'd often find cattle dead within 24 hours. And we could lose anything up to 6 or 8% of the total number of stock that we were purchasing at a time within up to 6 weeks.
And it generally presents at stressful times in their lives, when they're being moved around, at weaning.
And mixed with other cattle as well, at sale yards and then trucked.
So what was it that prompted you to first look at the Cooper's Bovilis MH+IBR vaccine?
Well, it started quite a few years ago, really, when we started incurring massive losses and we started looking into the problems. What's killing these cattle to start with? A product emerged from Cooper's. We tried it. We found it extremely effective.
Are you surprised when you look over the fence that some of your neighbours and other people in the industry haven't been quite so ready to follow that sort of logic and that pathway?
The bottom line is, people who do things well would use this product, and they'll breed better cattle, and they'll put a lot of detail and attention into doing everything else that's required, the other vaccination programs and drenching programs. They'll have the right genetics. We'd prefer to buy cattle from people that are doing a really good job, including the Cooper's product. Given
your experience, what would you say to people who are considering going down this route and using a product like Cooper's Bovilis MH+IBR?
I would highly recommend it. In fact, I would suggest if they want to stay in business, they should use it. I won't be wanting to purchase the calves from locals unless they are treated. It's as simple as that. For agriculturalists, who spend a lot of money on genetics, breeding, looking after the calving cycle, feeding their livestock, to let them die when the purchaser comes along, puts them on a truck and they drop dead. It's just not sensible.
Greg, you're clearly very passionate about it, and we do appreciate you having us here at your place and for joining us today on the Cooper's Couch.